In today's video, I'm going to break down bulking in the off season. We're going to talk about if you should do it, how you should do it, meal frequency, timing of the meals, and how many calories you should be in a surplus to optimize that bulk to get you prepped for the next season. Now, first and foremost, we're going to get into who should do it. Now, this is a huge question and it is not for everyone. For my recommendation, I would be putting any athlete between the ages of 14 to 25 on a lean bulk in the off season. Now, the reason why I would do that is because typically any athlete between the ages of 14 and 25 is on the younger side of the spectrum out of all the athletes. And when you're on the younger side of the spectrum, you haven't had as much experience in the gym and on the field. Therefore, you are required more so than anybody else to build up your muscle mass. 14, 15, 16, 17, every single one of those years, you have an off season. That off season is designed for you to add slabs of muscle. So by the time you get into the senior environment, you're not getting pushed around because you're a little boy. And the only way you're not going to get pushed around is if you apply the proper bulk protocol in those off seasons. So if you are between the ages of 14 and 25, I would put you on a lean bulk. But you must be between body fat percentage of anywhere between 7 to 13%. If you fall within that category, you are 14 to 25 years old and you sit between 7 and 13% body fat, then you will be required to go into a lean bulk this off season. Those that shouldn't do the bulk, any athlete above 13%. If you're above 13%, you are too fat to play football. Plain and simple. I will repeat myself. If you are above 13% body fat, you are too fat to play football. I don't want to hear, oh, but I've been getting away with it. It's been serving me good. Nah. Look at the pros. Look at Ronaldo. Look at Messi. Look at anyone that you would idolize that's had a sustainable career. That's admirable. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. What body fat percentage do you think that they fall under? It's certainly not above 13. And if you're not at that level, then I would suggest that you do not get on a bulk. You have enough bulk, you need to cut it off. That's what you got to do. All right, so by now you should know whether you should be bulking or not. Now, the next step is to find your maintenance calories. What are your maintenance calories? Your maintenance calories are your baseline calories that you will eat on a day-to-day basis to sustain your current body weight. Now, you need to find this out. So what I would suggest you do is you track your weight every single day and you track your food every single day. Now, based on the movement of your weight and the food that you've been eating, that should give you a clear indication of roughly where your baseline or your maintenance calories should be. So say, for example, your maintenance calories are 2,500 calories right there. Depending on how aggressive you go on this bulk is going to be dependent on the individual. Now, if you're an individual that's roughly around that 7% body fat, that easily has shredded six-pack year-round without a doubt, and you are more of a hard gainer, then I would go a little bit more aggressive on the bulk during this off season, and I would be in a surplus of 500 daily calories. That's for the hard gainers. Now, if you're your standard human, you eat a bit of food, you gain a little weight, just as per normal, then I will do it more on the conservative side, and I would be doing anywhere between 200 to 300 calories daily surplus. Guys, you have to think about it from a mathematical standpoint. In order for you to gain 1 kilo of muscle, you're going to require a surplus of anywhere between 4,500 and 5,500 calories added over a period of several weeks, whilst also getting the muscle stimulation through the gym. So if you do the math on that, if you've got 500 daily calories over a week, that's going to spit out 3,500 calories. 7 multiplied by 500. Now, mind you, the human body is a little bit more complex than number in, number out. So don't expect that once you've eaten your 5,000th calorie in surplus that you're magically going to be a kilo up. You may not be a kilo up. It's just a rule of thumb. You might be 900, you might be 1.2. All the bodies of the human being race adjust differently. And we're talking 1 kilo of muscle. We're not talking about the added water from the carbs or the sodium or anything else that's going to be added onto your body. Now let's get into the macronutrients. And I'm going to give you the split that I personally use for all my athletes. Now, this does go a little bit against the grain, and it's not typical information that you're going to hear from your standard coach, but I'm not your standard coach, and this is my channel, and this is my rules. Now, a lot of coaches will give the 50, 30, 20 split, somewhere around that. They're really going to pump up where this is carbs, protein, fat, which is quite a significant amount of carbohydrates. Now, I typically eat a very carnivorous based diet, so mostly meats, very minimal carbs. The carbs that I may get comes from the odd fruit and some honey. And with my athletes, I don't expect them to eat the same way. However, I am understanding that they are going to have more carbs than what I consume, just because the way that I eat is a little bit crazy. So rather than pushing 50, 30, 20, because not only does this go against my ethos of really pumping a lot of carbohydrates, it doesn't make sense to me as well to be eating so many carbs, especially in the off season when you don't require them as much, especially with weight training. Maybe you could argue it when you're playing 90-minute football games, but in the off season, we're not doing that. So the ratio I like to use is more along the lines of a 33, 33, 33, even split. The reason why I like doing that is because carbohydrates, when they're overconsumed, they don't hold the same amount of nutrient density as what proteins and fats do. So when you look at, like, say, for example, rice or a potato or spaghetti or any carbohydrate source, when you put that up pound to pound with a steak, with an egg, with butter, there's no comparison. I'm not that type of coach that's going to say if it fits your macros, then put it in. I'm not that type of coach that's going to say eat Skittles or eat an LCM bar before a workout just so you can have the quick sugars. I look at the overall health and optimization of the human being first before performance. Because at the end of the day, longevity, not only within the sport, within life, is the priority. And if you build up the wrong habits whilst playing professional sport because you're eating junk, then you are going to take these habits into your life beyond the sport. And that's why you see a lot of athletes beyond the game that think in this way, start stacking on the kilos because they haven't got a health optimization outlook. They've got a pure caloric number outlook. And that's never the game you want to play if you want longevity. Above all else, man, it's going to make you feel like an absolute unit. You don't need that many carbs. Carbohydrates that you can consume is anything with fruits, honey, and you can structure those around your workouts. Which leads me to my next point. Meal timing and frequency of meals, because this is huge. Taking my health standpoint in mind, I personally like my athletes to do a fast for the first half of the day. Now, I'm not going to go down deep into the rabbit hole of fasting and the health benefits of it, but I do not see a world in which we live in where we are required to be eating 5 to 6 meals per day. I can understand how it can work because you want to drip feed little bits of food and optimize protein synthesis and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, the way you should be structuring your meal frequency is if you have a workout in the morning, midday, say afternoon. If you have a workout in the morning, I would train fasted. If you have a workout midday, I would have some simple carbohydrates before the workout with some lean protein. The reason why I want it to be lean is because it's easier to digest lean sources of proteins as opposed to fatty. So you can say some lean meat and some simple sugars to fuel this workout. If you're training only in the afternoon, then I would still have this meal that you would have as you're training midday, and then I would follow it up obviously with a post-workout meal with a dinner that would be more so a fattier cut of steak, and add the fats post-workout because they're longer to digest rather than slamming them before the workout. More often than not, a lot of you guys just need a coffee to get in and slam yourself in the gym. This is the off season, guys. Sure, you need to be fueled. Don't get me wrong, but you can do that very easily with 1 hour of weight training. Weight training, more often than not, does not require that much energy. You can have some carbs throughout the workout, but going down the 5-6 meal protocol just isn't necessary. If you really structure your meals and you are 2,500 maintenance calories and you need to eat 3,000, I'm 5'7". I weigh anywhere between 68 and 70 kilos. I can comfortably smash 1,500 calories for breakfast, no problem. No problem whatsoever. I'm smaller than the average man. If you are 80 kilos and you're about 5'10", 3,000, just above 3,000 calories is going to be typically, from my experience, a surplus. If I can eat 1,500 calories in one sitting like that, I can assure you, you can too. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want more information like this, if you want daily tips, tricks, full updates on my Instagram, check it out. I post between 15 and 20 stories every single day, daily reels. You can message me on my IG. If you want to book a call to get access to my one-to-one online training, check out the links in the description and in the pinned comments. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.